I'm still annoyed this Star Trek. The Next Generation character was only in 2 episodes before disappearing. In the sprawling tapestry of Star Trek, The Next Generation TNG filled with iconic characters, philosophical dilemmas, and thought-provoking plots, it's easy to overlook some of the show's briefest stars. But every once in a while, a character appears so compelling, so loaded with potential, that their sudden and unexplained disappearance feels like a disservice to the story and to the fans. One such character is LT, Commander Shelby, played by the formidable Elizabeth Dennehy. Introduced in the 2-part masterpiece, The Best of Both Worlds, Shelby had everything: ambition, tactical brilliance, and the rare audacity to challenge Commander Riker. She lit up the screen, and then vanished into the void of forgotten Star Trek characters. Even decades later, I'm still annoyed that Starfleet's most promising Borg expert was relegated to just 2 episodes. Shelby was built for greatness. From her very first moment on screen in The Best of Both Worlds, Part I, Shelby felt like she belonged. Not just as a temporary mission specialist or guest star, she felt like a real contender in the main cast. A tactical officer with a specialty in Borg warfare, she had been fast-tracked to the Enterprise D after the chilling events of Q, where the Federation first encountered the Borg. Shelby was confident, some would say cocky, but in a way that made sense. She should be confident. She knew her field. She wasn't just spouting theories. She was leading simulations, analyzing Borg behavior, and preparing Starfleet for an existential threat. And just as importantly, Shelby wasn't afraid to speak her mind. She clashed with Riker almost immediately, questioning his hesitance to take command of his own ship and even making it clear she had her eye on his job. In a show where most of the crew operated like a well-oiled, respectful family, her brashness was a breath of fresh air. She shook things up, and it was glorious. The perfect foil for Riker. Shelby's dynamic with Riker was layered and fascinating. At the time, Riker had already turned down multiple offers to captain his own starship, content to remain on the Enterprise under Captain Picard. Shelby didn't just question that choice, she challenged it, openly and with vigor. This rivalry highlighted one of Riker's core internal conflicts: ambition versus loyalty. Shelby, with her drive and hunger for promotion, became a mirror for what Riker could have been had he chosen differently. In many ways, she was a younger version of the first officer back when he was still dubbed Hotshot Riker in his earlier years. That tension gave The Best of Both Worlds its emotional stakes, even before the Borg showed up. When Riker was forced to take command in Picard's absence, it was Shelby who offered both friction and support. She tested him, but she also rose to the occasion when the fate of Earth was on the line. That kind of layered, competitive partnership is rare, and it was golden television. It felt like the beginning of something. But it wasn't. Her disappearance makes no sense. After The Best of Both Worlds, Part 2, Shelby disappears. No promotion to first officer. No reassignment. Not even a throwaway line to explain where she went. She just vanished. This isn't a universe where characters vanish without consequence. Even relatively minor figures like Reginald Barclay, Ensign Ro, and Ro Laren got arcs, callbacks, and some measure of development. Shelby, despite being central to one of TNG's most defining moments, is dropped entirely. It's baffling. She had rank. She had skill. She had chemistry with the cast. And in the aftermath of the Borg invasion, she should have been a crucial figure in Starfleet's ongoing defense strategy. Why wasn't she brought back in future Borg episodes like I, Borg or Descent? Why didn't she pop up in Deep Space Nine during the Dominion War, or even in Voyager, where her tactical knowledge could have been invaluable? To fans like me, the answer isn't just she didn't fit the story. It's they missed a massive opportunity. A Starfleet future that could have been. Imagine an alternate Star Trek timeline, one where Shelby's career trajectory continued on screen. She could have become a recurring Starfleet liaison, updating the Enterprise on Borg activity or leading a task force focused on counter-assimilation tactics. She could have clashed with Admiral Nechayev over military doctrine. She might even have earned a command of her own, a showrunner's dream setup for a Star Trek Shelby spin-off that never was. More intriguingly, she could have played a pivotal role in Star Trek Picard. When the Romulan and Borg storylines re-emerged, who better to consult than the Federation's original Borg specialist? She could have become a high-ranking admiral overseeing anti-Borg defenses, or perhaps leading a more radical Starfleet faction determined to wipe out all cybernetic threats. The potential for drama was endless. Instead, her legacy is barely a footnote until a blink and you'll miss a cameo in Picard Season 3, where she appears as a Commodore commanding the USS Enterprise F and is promptly killed. Seriously? After 30 years, we finally see Shelby again, only for her to be shot dead in the same episode? That's not closure. That's insult. A rare female Starfleet leader. Another reason Shelby's absence stings? She was one of the rare high-ranking female officers on the Next Generation. Yes, TNG had strong female characters, Dr. Crusher, Counselor Troy, and later Ro Laren and Guinan, but few were placed in true command positions. Shelby not only held a command-level rank, but she exuded the authority, confidence, and strategic brilliance we typically saw in Picard, Riker, or Sisko. She wasn't defined by relationships. She wasn't there to be anyone's love interest. She existed purely on merit and mission. For young viewers, especially women, watching Star Trek in the early 90s, Shelby was a glimpse into a more equitable Starfleet. One where command wasn't just a man's game. And Star Trek fumbled it. Fans never forgot her. Despite her limited screen time, Shelby developed a devoted fan base. She's appeared in multiple non-canon novels, comics, and video games. Fans have kept her alive in fan fiction and conventions. There's a reason she was chosen to helm the Enterprise F in Picard. The writers knew people remembered her. But nostalgia is not a substitute for storytelling. The creative teams behind Star Trek had multiple decades and multiple series in which to reintroduce this character meaningfully. Instead, they waited until the very end to give her a blink of screen time, and then gunned her down before we could even process her return. It felt less like an homage and more like a cruel joke. The bigger problem, wasted potential in Star Trek. Shelby's disappearance isn't an isolated case. Star Trek has a long history of introducing brilliant side characters who never get the attention they deserve. Think of Captain Jellicoe, Dr. Sealer, or Commander Nella Darren. All had the makings of recurring characters or even leads. But the writers often defaulted to the core crew, hesitant to upset the delicate chemistry of the bridge. I get it. TV in the 90s wasn't as serialized or expansive as it is today. There were fewer avenues to spin characters off or explore side stories. But that doesn't excuse the wasted potential. Especially not when that potential showed up with command pips, a brilliant mind, and a ready-for-anything attitude. Conclusion: she deserved so much more. Elizabeth Dennehy's Commander Shelby had charisma, intelligence, and story potential in spades. Her appearance in the Best of Both Worlds left a seismic impact on TNG, a rare two-parter that still ranks. But after,